Space nerds. I've got the core gameplay and feature updates of Star Citizen that occurred in April for you. And the biggest thing I'm getting from this is that some of the most crucial game systems in this game, engineering, flight systems, quantum travel, and death, they're all getting higher levels of polish than other systems have in the past, like mining, salvage, or even refueling. Those got functionality, but they didn't get brought up to a nice level of usefulness. At least not till later. In this video, I'm going to be looking at some of the higher levels of polish and functionality they're putting into these game systems, as well as radar and scanning before they reach our hands. Interestingly though, no crafting. Either way, remember, this is the core gameplay update. If you want the whole read through with all the analysis and detailed feedback, check it out over on Space Tomato 2, where I'm putting out daily news videos now about Star Citizen. Either way, let's get to it. In terms of missions this month, the core gameplay team prioritized missions. They actually focused on space-based missions. We're seeing a lot of these come in through patrol missions, ambush missions, and even some like little go get the satellite missions. But they're all modules that are being combined in different categories and different combinations to eventually add to this supposed 60+ missions that we're seeing in 4.1.1. We're also seeing some updates to the comms notification systems. They're pretty small updates, I think, but they will allow for easier communication with mission givers, which is becoming more of a thing as Star Citizen's now starting to add more narrative missions with voice acting and some actual reason. They also focused on in-game rewards. We're seeing new weapons, new ships, and new armors all coming into the game that can be earned in the game by doing specific things. That has happened in 4.1, it's continuing in 4.1.1, and it will probably continue the rest of the year. Of course, the team also focused on ongoing problems and glitches because we know we have no shortage of those. Quantum travel, everybody's favorite. I hate quantum travel right now. Quantum travel has a lot of problems and they're working on them, but honestly, I don't think it's going to be any fun until we get the new quantum travel experience, which we'll be talking about later in this video. They're also working on glitches around freight elevators, ship claiming, and inventory flow. Everything we know about, and I imagine it's a little annoying to hear they're working on these glitches, yet you still experience glitches, but they are eliminating some of them. On to engineering. The engineering updates this month gave us some better insight into how it's going to work specifically. They're now adding countdown warnings to catastrophic explosions to your engineering terminal. So you'll be able to notice when you're actually getting close to dying, because death is going to change for these ships completely. This actually shows us that they're vastly extending that amount of time that players are going to have to save their ship before they actually die. And we did get more details on this in a couple other monthly reports earlier this year too. But going a little bit further here, we can see that you're going to have to receive a significant impact for your ship to receive fatal damage. A railgun shot, a very, very large ordnance compared to your ship, or pad rammers. Gosh, you guys remember that? We still don't know if this means that like smaller ship weapons will be able to blow your ship up just from shooting you over and over, but I do think this is going to make it harder for people to just out and out kill you. If they want to ruin your day, they're going to have to disable your ship and blow it up with something really big and costly, or they're going to have to board the ship and actually come and fight you. We also learned that soft death is actually not going to go away completely. Its effects have been removed from its status. So they can now enable the effects of soft death separately from the ship being soft deathed, essentially a disabled state, I guess. This would be like gravity turning off, power shutting down, and you being essentially dead in the water. Now, this is just a couple of words on a page, so I don't know all the details about this. We'll probably find out more soon. But CIG is clearly working on the ability to disable a ship rather than blow it up. And I think that's going to be the case most of the time because you're not really supposed to be dying that much in this game. Ignore that NERSA commercial.
You're probably thinking I'm a goner.
But on top of not dying as much, this will also mean there will be more people calling for help in their ships, so that beacon system's going to need an update soon. Now that's all for engineering right now. But between the life support module getting a lot of work earlier this year, and the coolers getting detailed last month, and now we're seeing computer blades and computers start to be talked about coming into the game with 4.1.1, engineering is definitely making some really big moves. It's much later than I ever would have liked it to be, but I do think we're gonna see it this year. Hey, catching you off guard with a little segment here. Here at Space Tomato Gaming, we don't really take sponsors on these videos, if you haven't noticed, especially if we don't trust the product or know it. We are almost entirely funded by the community, by you guys. And as a thank you to anybody who does that, we publish exclusive videos every month with a release to the public later in the year. The latest one, it's a little pride point of mine, is about the 6 stages of Star Citizen, and it took some introspection. It's a look at the different phases of going through following this game, and sometimes you go through all of them, sometimes you go through one and quit, but I thought laying it out in a video would be fun. If you're interested, check it out. If not, enjoy the rest of the video. In the new flight model development,
Don't talk about master modes.
we've got work and control surfaces, master modes,
Oh my god.
and AI development. The new space flight model was enabled in the dev streams of Star Citizen, so I can only assume this is the flight model that essentially removes master modes, but it has now been enabled for devs to use, so they are probably developing more of the content surrounding it. But I may be wrong. The team also spent time actively debugging AI ship motion in the game. Now, AI ship motion is definitely better than FPS motion, but I think there's still plenty of work that needs to be done, and I'm glad to see they're always working on it. This is arguably one of the more primary parts of Star Citizen. I'm not a combat person, but we have guns on all of our ships. Specifically in this AI work, they put a lot into AI landing and takeoff behaviors, so that should be nice to see. There are also new game modes added to prepare for testing of these flight models, at least on the dev side. They are adding the ability to test both the old and new flight models at the same time so they can see more discrepancies. Hopefully we'll see something in the preview channel or the EPTU soon. Work also began on control surfaces. Yes, the same control surfaces we've been hearing about since 2022. The main focus on this feature is to make flight more aerodynamic. It's going to shift focus from your thrusters over to your flaps, flap, 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 and your wings while you're flying in atmosphere. So if you have a ship that looks like a plane, you're golden. But if you have a ship that looks like a caterpillar, you're gonna have to focus more on your thrusters. Now the benefits of this means we're gonna be able to glide, we'll be able to do stalling maneuvers and other things that you can see planes do in normal plane places. It's just called the air. But the bad part about this is that now your thrusters will take on more wear and tear as they are counteracting the force of gravity. So if you don't fly fast enough for your aerodynamics to help, you'll start to see wear and tear on your thrusters, which will impact the engineering system, which will cause malfunctions. So it's a little bit of an incentive to fly more intelligently in atmosphere. This means that ships won't aimlessly float around everywhere. They won't be able to float nose down, just kind of shooting at you, because this is essentially a reintroduction of hover mode, just in a more normal way. I'll actually let 2022 John Crew explain this to you.
The old hover mode, that sort of tried to solve the problem in a different way, and it was the right idea with not quite the right implementation. Another thing we can look at, heat. We don't really use heat at the moment because the way heat works in our game is not how we want it to work long term, and this is something with the resource system that is being entirely redone. But like a Gladius, as well as needing that control surface to keep up in the air, like if you're not going fast, those thrusters can start overheating as an extra penalty, because in reality, you could just upend your Gladius like that and balance it on its main thrusters. But because they're powerful enough to do that, so they should be powerful enough to do that, but they're going to be working so hard that that heat is going to build up and we can cause intentional problems doing it that way.
I think this whole thing is really important to ship choice and consequence and focusing on a specific ship for a specific job. So I really hope that CIG sticks to this. Quantum travel, we got a little bit of an update here. They're actually adding a slower version of quantum boosting, which is already a slower version of quantum travel. This sounds like something that'll be used more for getting around planetary locations, maybe through asteroid fields, because quantum travel I don't think will work through asteroid fields anymore, and other places where maybe you have to travel a couple thousand kilometers and don't want to slow boat it. But we'll have to see more about this as more information comes out. It does sound to me like they're treading pretty close to that 1200 meter per second speed limit we were already used to, so I'm interested in how this is going to work. But it is a key component of exploration in Star Citizen. Quantum boosting, when it does happen, is going to be one of the most common things we do in the game. So I'm excited to see how it goes. I just wish it would be here already, you know? Scanning is continuing to progress. We're seeing it on the FPS side as well as in ships. There have been improvements to how the system can handle the potential of hundreds or thousands of targets being in the vicinity. I'm not sure how that's going to be done, but it is being worked on. Further FPS scanning and radar improvements came along, which were specifically listed as polish to the system at this point. These changes included a reworked detection formula, refined visual highlights on objects and actors after they've been scanned, a disabled influence signature system, implementation of smarter inclusion checks for same room targets so that you don't get like a cluttered view when you're scanning for something and you've already got things in the room with you can obviously see, and improved boxed out displays to indicate what has been scanned and identified for the player on both the HUD and the radar. Ultimately, scanning and radar is going to be a powerful tool, but it seems like there will be a lot of deterrence against it and also consequences for using it. That being said, I still can't wait to test it out. This is going to be huge for everyday gameplay, for them to be able to create more content that's maybe a little more puzzle investigation oriented, right now we still have to depend on anything we can see with our eyes and know for sure we can identify. So hopefully we see this in the EPTU soon as well. After all the good stuff, we still did have some bug fixes to go through. The MISC Hull C spawned with an extended spindle before. It no longer does that. And the commodity UI was preventing ships from being selected. They took care of some bugs with refineries, specifically with how the inventory worked within refineries, and made it so that ore bags aren't consumed while refining, which, can I just say, the addition of ore bags to the mining loop now actually working is crazy. That should be in this report. That's a huge gameplay change. Mining bags are now actually able to be transferred and changed and sent, and it's great. Mining has taken a huge step up this year. But yeah, the glitch is done. Also on the cargo side of things, the grid-based item placement now respects item pivots. So now your boxes can dance with a little better footsteps, a little better. There's a lot going on in feature development that we're just not seeing. It feels almost like they're giving us the sort of bubble of Cloud Imperium, Star Citizen public-facing game, and then they're also keeping this kind of more traditional closed development model for like feature development in Squadron 42. I mean, it might actually work on a large scale. People are more happy with the game, and they are seemingly getting to develop these features behind closed doors. They're not using the EPTU, which I'm not crazy happy about, but that's probably saving them a lot of money as well. If they can get these into our hands in a more polished state and still get us the chance to give feedback and see things change a little bit as we go, that'd be great. But I'm glad that they are going for a vision that they have set out for these features, and they're making them actually work how they want them to work before they start trying to just throw them into the game, possibly with game-breaking glitches. Despite us not seeing the feature development more out in the open, which I do think CIG could do more of and inside Star Citizen, what is being developed here is healthy for the game. It's just taken a long time. But like I've been saying with every review of these core gameplay segments, this is big gameplay coming up. And I know you guys in the comments are gonna say it's not big, but it is. Engineering and the way that these ships work is gonna change how we play this game. Scanning is gonna change how we move around all of these areas. And the fact that ships won't be dying anymore, I don't have to explain how that's gonna change things. Core gameplay is making big moves behind the scenes. The big question for us is, when is it ever going to reach our hands? Engineering has already been delayed multiple times, and these other features we've been hearing about for years. So I'll keep you guys updated on these until it reaches that point, and I hope you got something from this core gameplay update. It's weird they're not talking about base building and crafting, especially after mentioning it a couple months ago. We haven't seen it in 2 months, so I do think that's still getting a move on, but for some reason they're being a little more quiet about it. Either way, if you want to see the full in-depth read-through of this again, you can go check out Space Tomato 2. I've got daily news videos going on over there now. Also got the podcast coming up over there weekly. And that's about it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next.